with the setup that we've got here at Minworth, we've got 3 Cambi THP streams. So each stream dedicated to a block of 4 digesters. So essentially the plan is to convert 12 of the 16 digesters into enhanced digesters from conventional. So we've agreed with the operations team within Severn Trent to do the initial conversion with the first THP stream and the first digester pair. And then eventually, from lessons learned from that, the next 2 THP streams will be per block, and sort of get the transition then from conventional to enhanced digestion.
So for Minworth THP, one of our major themes was to develop our digital toolbox and techniques and ways of working. So at an early stage, one of the key elements to that was to engage early with the client's operational team who are going to ultimately inherit the asset. And so to do that using the digital approaches, we gave them access to the 3D model that we were developing, so they could be involved with the design process at an early stage. We've held various design reviews with them and obviously the design team as well, including virtual reality, ALMs and reviews, and also augmented reality reviews to understand some critical aspects of the design to get the buy-in from the operational team.
So we had ops liaison right from the start of the process, involving the design stage and the planning stage. So we had different operators from different trades, also included maintainers, electricians and instrument techs.
Part of the design process, we have developed a conceptual model on BIM Field, which is a platform we use to give access to the various people involved with the design process. And through the design process, we've incorporated supplier information and then developed that design solution into a detailed design model, which we've then been able to use to generate our construction drawings from.
On this particular project, we used a lot of 4D digital rehearsals, which enabled site teams to practice their installations prior to the actual install.
So this is where we run the program along with a design sequence to be able to visualise and digitally rehearse an installation.
The majority of the equipment is assembled in the factory, and then it can be delivered to site and installed in a fraction of the time. So some great examples on this project have been the boiler house, which was completely manufactured up in Rochdale and commissioned and tested, and then it was split into modules and transferred down to site, and the installation just took about 4 days on site time, whereas that would have taken a good 5 or 6 months if it was built in situ on the site.
And that's enabled us to protect our workforce health and safety wise, because we've identified any potential risk as a result of doing that, and then come the day the installation goes nice and swimmingly because we've practiced it and we know exactly what's going to happen. We've made good use of Skype to be able to run design reviews with the key people all over the world at the same time in real time, and run the model, so that's been quite effective and useful.
Early on in the project, we sent out the inquiries to various people in the supply chain. We had a lot of information from previous jobs that we'd done, so we were able to incorporate that into the specifications. We've used companies that have had previous experience in THP projects, so there's been lots of lessons learnt all the way along the line.
Very early on, some key factors to consider were how we're going to interface the design solution with the existing assets. So it's identifying where we're going to connect into the existing system, understanding that fully, and then developing our design solution to incorporate those effectively.
Good communication is essential for good project management, especially on these complicated schemes. So we've had weekly comm cells, and also design review meetings where we can all review the 3D models, which helps the visualization, and also operational liaison, and that's really helped to make sure that we're all well briefed and everybody knows what everybody else is doing, and it makes everybody very task focused, so you know the impacts of you not completing activities, so it keeps productivity high as well.
And we also have a ops liaison officer based on site whose sole job is to ensure all communications are fed back to the team, and anything that we've got issues with gets fed back.
Obviously it's a significant investment electrically in this project, and there was a lot of new innovations in terms of networks and SCADA implementation and controls with this, particularly with the Cambi THP boilers and all the complicated plant that goes with that. So it was essential that we discussed all this with Severn Trent's standing teams and the maintenance teams, and early involvement with those guys really paid dividends into getting a product that they're all very happy with.
So we've done lots of calibration planning involving different operators. We've done various shutdowns on site, which needs a lot of input from operators and maintainers, which we've planned through with both sides of the team, and they've run all very smoothly with no hitches yet.
Capturing lessons learnt has been a really vital part of the design process on the Minworth THP. We were able to go to Seafield and Crawley projects in the past. We were able to tap into that network and get some really good information from previous projects and really try and embed that into our design and improve our designs. So in order to mitigate the risk of pipework overrunning, we decided to split the packages. So we actually went out into 5 different areas and had 5 separate subcontracts, which, although it involved a lot more management, it was actually a real benefit to the job because it meant that we unlocked a lot more production facilities, more resource for installation, and we had concurrent working in different parts of the site, which really helped our problem and got 10 kilometres of pipework installed in a much shorter time, probably 6 months. The plant has been designed for maximum energy efficiency. The boilers are dual fuel, so they can burn either natural gas or biogas, so the extra biogas generated can be reutilised. And the big saving comes from the waste heat recovery from the CHP engines, where the exhaust, which is at 450 degrees, is put into the boilers through economisers, and that really helps minimise the amount of gas required to generate the steam. One of the other features on the centrifuges, we've used the high efficiency lower power motors, which will mean that the running costs are lower. The sludge cake from the silos is at 22%. It's then diluted to about 16.5% and pumped into the pulper tank where it's preheated. It then is pumped into the reactors where it's heated at 175 degrees with live steam for 30 minutes. It's then flashed off into the flash tank where it loses the pressure, which destroys the cell structure, and the hydrolyzed sludge is then very digestible. It's then blended with recirculated sludge from the digesters at 3:1, cooled, and then pumped into the digesters where you get an enhanced gas yield.
We've put a lot of effort into engaging with the client and getting their people, the guys that are going to be running this plant for the next 25, 30 years, to understand how it works and how it all goes together. So we've had apprentices, particularly in the ICA and electrical departments, embedded with our subcontractors throughout the installation program. So they've actually lived and breathed the job with us throughout the construction phase. So I think that'll really pay dividends for the client in the long run. In order to commission this plant, it's essential that obviously it's a running works. We needed to carry on doing the day job. So Severn Trent were particularly keen that their operations, their day-to-day operations, weren't interrupted or inconvenienced by the work that we were doing. So it was essential to come up with quick changeovers, means of bringing the new plant into service without disrupting that throughput and actually improving the performance of the plant. So a lot of early work went into devising those methods, and that's what's playing fruit now with our early completion.
Commissioning so far has been really good, and hopefully this will be a good show project for the client as well. And from then on, it'll be pretty much bigger and better THP projects, you know.
Severn Trent are looking at the future biosolids separation within the business. So this is our first THP site. THP will bring a whole host of benefit that we think will align ourselves incredibly well for that sludge deregulation market. We're looking at increased gas production. We're looking at the biosolids that we do produce from the process being enhanced, and it will generally remove a lot of the bottlenecks that we currently have at Minworth in terms of the sludge route to add greater benefit. The Cambi technology has been widely deployed in the UK water industry. It's well proven. There's been a lot of R&D done elsewhere. So we've bought into a tried and proven process that we know will give us the best chance of success moving forwards.